Artur Goklow's essay, Stalker, Existentialism and Mental Health, is a meticulous vivisection of some of the most important aspects in the 1979 Russian film, Stalker. In his film, according to Artur Goklow, Tarkovsky performs a metaphorical pirouette on our understanding of mental health by using psychoanalysis to explore existentialism and transcendentalism. Webster's dictionary defines existentialism as a philosophical theory or approach which emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free, responsible agent determining their own development through acts of the will. In order to draw parallels throughout the film and essay, Emerson's essays Nature and the Transcendentalist will be referred to for a proper understanding for existentialism and transcendentalism and how it relates with the film. Emerson grapples with existentialism, which is apparent in this quote: "There are persons whom in their hearts they daily thank for existence. Persons whose faces are perhaps unknown to them, but whose fame and spirit penetrated their solitude, and for whose sake they wish to exist." For the psychoanalysis side, Blanchot's essay, The Speech of Analysis, will be referred to, which properly encapsulates the proper terms and phrases readily available in both the aforementioned original essay and the film as a whole. The film begins with the writer and the professor paying the stalker to help them escape from the confines of their society, which is outlawed passage to the zone. Before the stalker leaves, his wife is upset that he's risking time in prison again to go back to his old ways. She says to him, "Oh, it's the prison you'll be back to."
5 лет, 10. Ничего у тебя не будет все эти 10 лет. Ни зоны, ничего. А я за эти 10 лет сдохну.
This word nothing is repeated a total of 13 times in the film. These lines from the film back up Artur Goklow's argument, especially when he says the failure to find the answer in the zone may in fact be an illusion, in the sense that nothingness is an essential part of existentialism, as symbolized in the nothingness of death. In a sense, we see Dessian become aware of nothingness, and through anguish assume a mode of being that is moving towards freedom and authenticity. Emerson reinforces this nothingness in Transcendentalism when he says, "I become transparent eyeball, I am nothing. I see all the currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle of God." This nothingness is also apparent in psychoanalysis, according to Blanchot. For the infant, everything is exterior, and he himself is scarcely anything but this exterior, the outside, a radical exteriority without unity, a dispersion without anything dispersing. The absence, which is the absence of nothing, is at first the infant's sole presence. They escape to the zone, where vestiges of the society remain, but most have been overcome with chrysanthemum and the power of nature. Emerson comments on this escape from uniformity in The Transcendentalist when he says, "They change and pass away, but ask him why he believes the uniform experience will continue uniform, or on what grounds he founds his faith in figures, and he will perceive that his mental fabric is built upon just as strange and quaking foundations as his proud edifice of stone." There's a lot to unpack here. Not only does this quote also support Artur Goklow's thesis that Stalker is an approach to psychoanalysis through existentialism when it mentions the fragile nature of our mental fabric, but also the mentions of the divine are vastly apparent throughout this essay, and in this particular fragment, the faith in figures. This factor is integral because religion is an important factor in all of Tarkovsky's films. In Stalker, the writer says to the stalker,
"Я вас не прощу."
while wearing the crown of thorns. Jesus was known for forgiving sins, so the film is flipping the idea of religion on its head and asking the collective viewership to look deeper into existentialism for answers from a higher power. This scene can be tied back to existentialism by the quote from Emerson's essay, Nature, when he proclaims, "Let us demand our own works and laws in worship." This is relevant to the existential aspects of the zone, as the stalker describes the zone as psychedelic experience that demands respect or else it will punish you, and reinforces the argument that their journey through the zone is a journey of the mind, and the form of psychoanalysis when he says,
Но в каждый момент она такова, какой мы ее сами сделали, своим состоянием.
At one point, the writer forges ahead of the professor and the stalker in frustration. They linger behind in a furtive state, but he makes a beeline to the sacred room that grants wishes. He's interrupted by the voice of an Hölderlin, which issues a presentiment that he should turn back. This form of hearing voices is shared among Buddhist meditation, according to Rinpoche's The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. Rinpoche notes that the stages of bardo, which is what happens when you die, and many reported a luminous, seemingly omniscient presence that few call God or Christ. They refer to it as a sensory phenomena and is rooted in Emersonian existentialism through the following quote: "The Buddhist who thanks no man, who says, 'Do not flatter your benefactors,' but who, in his conviction that every good deed can by no possibility escape its reward, will not deceive the benefactor by pretending that he has done more than he should, is a transcendentalist." Most of all, though, this form of hearing voices is a symptom of schizophrenia. This ties the film back to its roots in mental health and psychoanalysis that Tarkovsky noted. This understanding is to propose an integrative rationalization of mental health that is, for instance, able to take advantage of a deeper understanding of the psyche with psychoanalysis or existential analysis, while also looking to provide more immediate functional improvements that does not abandon the healing inherent in spiritual practice, but instead considers them as deeply interconnected. It's all here: the experience of a divine higher power, the roots of neurobiology, and the existentialist approach to psychoanalysis. Emerson discusses madness in his essay Nature when he says, "Now many are thought not only unexplained and inexplicable as language, sleep, madness, dreams, beasts, sex." Schizophrenia comes from the Latin root word fracti, meaning broken. This ties into the film's interest in textures when the Stalker says,
Когда человек родится, он слаб и гибок. Когда умирает, он крепок и черств. Когда дерево растет, оно нежно и гибко. А когда оно сухо и жестко, оно умирает. Черствость и сила – спутники смерти. Гибкость и слабость выражают свежесть бытия. Поэтому что отвердело, то не победит.
Friedrich Hölderlin, a poet, battled with the same madness and had a psychotic break after writing some poems that appeared to be rooted in existential beliefs. He mostly focused around the importance of nature and higher powers in the sense of existentialism. In Bonaparte, he writes, "The poet leave him untouched in the spirit of nature." Nature is an important aspect of both existentialism and the film. Funny enough, Emerson, who discusses nature quite constantly, also has an essay called Napoleon, where he documents the man's life and victories. But that's besides the point. Emerson also evaluates nature's involvement in existentialism in his essay titled Nature, when he says, "Nature in its form and tendencies describing its own design." Here we tie back into the zone, constructing itself according to our own minds, supporting the thesis that the adventure through the zone is a journey of existentialism. Also, this film seems to have impacted the world of rap as well. Going off my video last week, Kendrick's refrain, "It's not enough," is repeated here as well.
But it's not enough.
Also, the MF Doom song, Meat Grinder, is repeated.
The dripping off the meat grinder, heat niner.
These two words also appear in the trailer for Seth Rogen's new show, The Studio,
The job is a meat grinder.
which could be a reference to Stalker, MF Doom, or just a completely original line. Finally, I forgot to mention this in the last video, but Denzel Curry's song Zenith is a reference to Ovid's Metamorphosis.
Catch me on the zenith.
Stalker is not a clement film. It does not beat the viewer over the head with its message, but instead unfolds in a mysterious and intriguing way that leaves the rest up for interpretation. That being said, its origins in existentialism and psychoanalysis are obliquely and flagrantly apparent. Because of this, the film could be regarded as its own form of meditation and regarded as its own existential experience within itself.